Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Bought a Mic. My name is Hunter Mobley, and I am delighted to be joined today by the filmmaker behind one of my favorite films at this year's Florida Film Festival, is Yun Xie with Under the Burning Sun. It is currently in competition for narrative features. Yun, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Now I'm actually at the location, NGN Theater, and I love the vibe over here, and the festival was like treating me and my film very well. I'm very fulfilled these days and chill.
Well,
Thank you.
I appreciate your time today, and I'm glad that you were able to actually come to Central Florida to take in the NZN Theater and everything that the Florida Film Festival is doing. So,
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy I got to be here.
Yeah, I do want to dive right into it. Not to switch tones here immediately, but your film it's one of the most harrowing films that I've seen in the last couple of years, to be honest with you. To set the stage for the audience at home, Under the Burning Sun follows a young woman who goes on a journey to get an abortion after being a victim of rape. It takes place in I don't know if you want to call it like a George Miller-like dystopian future, but unfortunately it has a lot to say about the world and the current climate that we live in today. I affectionately called it, whenever I was trying to pitch it to someone, as Mad Max meets Never Really, Sometimes Always. But it also has such new ideas that I found it very, very refreshing. To get right into it, there is a rawness and an anger in this film that felt very profound to me. Would you be able to talk a little bit about what the writing process was like for the story?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'm flattered that you like my movie. I know it's kind of like, it's not an easy watch. It's not everyone love it. So like, that's a relief you like it. But yeah, I think that you really capture the keywords. Like you mentioned the anger, you mentioned the rawness over there. That I think that is some of the elements I was looking for. It's not really looking for. It's like naturally being there. First of all, I know most of you are male, but if you don't mind, I want to talk about a little bit about the experience as being a woman.
Please.
Before we dive into the topic itself. I think naturally being a woman, there are so many like pain over there. I'm talking about literally pain. Like starting from like a young girl, and the first time when I was in my like 13, I got my first period. That was so fucking painful. I was like, Mom, I wasn't ready for this. My mom was like, yeah, that's being a woman. And starting from I don't remember how much painkillers I've been taking like throughout the years. That is starting from the period pain, and also of course the pain of giving birth to a baby, and also like a lot of other things. And there is like records that there were like more than 20% of women they experience like sexual harassment, sexual violence, which you don't know. That definitely could be like your friends, your maybe sisters, or I'm sorry, didn't mean that, but you know what I'm talking about, like people, women surrounding you. We just don't really aware of that. So I think that is, and also of course we're living in a society, like I'm sorry, I think it's like kind of getting better in a way, but sometimes it overtunes. We all know, but still we're living in like a society like more like a patriarchy world. And like the narrative most time is written by men. So I think the anger is like naturally, but this kind of anger is not to men. I have no zero problem with men. I started dating with guys when I was in fifth grade. Just wanna so it's more like a societal problem. So we kind of can feel that starting from like a little girl, along the way while I'm growing up as a woman. That is, I think that when you talk about anger, part of anger is that. And the other part is like, I have to talk about how I had the idea, of this movie. That is, it's kind of profounded from a moment between my mom and I. I know it doesn't really look like a mother-daughter film, but, it's actually, this film is dedicated to my mom. So it's like I think that's 4 years ago, before I made this film. My mom was at her very late stage of Alzheimer's, so that basically she lost all her ability with like she cannot talk, she cannot really like function in all moves, cannot go to bathroom by herself, cannot eat by herself. So basically, she back to the stage as a baby. So even though she's still there, but I feel like I kind of already lost her in a way. And my mom is the one who like influenced me most. I think she's kind of like the most influence for me. Like I became who I am now. But anyway, so I was attending her bed. I was taking care of her. I was cleaning her up because she cannot go bathroom by herself, right? I saw this long scarf on her belly. I actually see that every day, but I don't know why that moment that scarf just like popped out to me. That was scar from a hysterectomy like 10 years ago when she did her like moved her uterus because of cervical cancer. And like people surrounding just comforting her, like that is okay. You're not giving birth to another baby. It's safe to take like to remove it, right? And mom asked me, it was like 15 years ago. She asked me a question: am I still a woman after this? And I don't know. I was in college. I was so stupid. College is a time like you thought you understand something, you thought you grow up, but you're actually not. So I was I just following other people. I said, that is okay. You don't need it. So in that case, I'm kind of telling her that your uterus is just a birthing utility instead of a part of you as a woman. I thought like she asked me that question. She wanted to have a conversation with me, like women to women, but I didn't get it. And I thought I was also scared. So like fast forward, like it's 15 years later, I finally realized what she was asking me. And actually, even though I didn't answer that question back then, I feel like this question doesn't linger with me through all these years. Along the way, I started like from a girl to a woman. But I think I really want to have a conversation with her, but it's kind of too late. So, so this whole movie is a conversation with my mom, if that makes sense. Does it answer your question?
No, that absolutely does. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is incredibly impactful, and I think that really does shed a lot of light on the film itself and what you are trying to say there about. There is so much more than just like, the idea of a uterus is just like, oh, it's just your job as a woman to bear children because that is what you're here for. Like it is a whole point of identity. So thank you for sharing that story. I think that is.
I hope I'm not oversharing, but it's like whenever you ask where this story came from, it's like that is the story.
And I think that one of the words that I wanted to kind of dance around in my initial question there was that there is a lot of this film that feels deeply personal, and that comes through. Like this feels like something that is really genuine, what you are trying to say. I did want to ask a couple of filmmaking choices specifically that you make in the film. Going back to your portrayal of men, in this movie, men are monsters, not just in like their actions that they're doing, but in even the way that you frame them, where you're never seeing actually a man's face. You're shooting them in shadow, or you're shooting them from a low angle where just their head is cut off, or they have like a mask on of some kind. Was that always something whenever you were seeking out making this movie? Like was that always an intentional choice of yours?
Yeah, I think so. I think that is very deliberate choice. So the men in the film aren't really shown in. I think the reason why I choose to not show their face, I don't think they're shown as individuals. So they are more like represent a system. So to me, they like kind of like symbolize the power and oppression. So it's kind of like I only show part of them without showing their face. They like feel that is the force that's everywhere, but it's like hard to name or confront. Does it make sense? So I do feel that without showing their face, I feel more of the oppression, the oppression. So it's like you feel it's everywhere, but you don't really understand where it came from. And circling back to the question you asked me, I feel like yeah, again, I don't have problem with men in my life, but I do feel the anger. It's not towards any like the specific individuals. It's not about individuals. It's about the setup of the society. It's about the narrative of the whole world. It's like about a system. I mean, yes, the story is set up in a like dystopian world. So in that world, it's like more extreme, because we want to tell the story, right? So to me, I think that is a choice to, so it's not, I don't want to like depict a man as like one single man or like several characters. They are monsters. It's not about the individuals. Probably if those men, they live in another world, in another, like, let's say maybe in the story, like the, Arobus is like more like a, utopia land. We think it's a better place. Probably if those men, they're in the Europa, they're a better person. They treat women better. So I don't think that is a one person's problem or several characters problem. That is I think that is one of the reasons I choose to not showing their face. So I want more to set up like a system. And it also put us, I think that choice also put us closer to my main character, to Mowanza, the protagonist. So I want to have less distraction to those male characters. So we kind of more with her. We're with her, but we experience what she experienced. We feel what she feels. So it's more like, without really being distracted by the men, the audience can like stay emotionally with her, and we can see what she feels, which is like the constant pressure from the outside world without she aware or knowing where this thing coming from. Does this make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it's a very, very effective choice. The way that you frame the basically the villain, the other of this world. I think that it really plays very strongly. And speaking to that, I'm glad that you brought up Mowanza. Stephanie Party. I think that aside from the gorgeous look of this movie, she is one of the elements that really pops off the screen. And I think that the movie, it's hard to imagine it after seeing it with a different performer in that role. How did you first come in contact with Stephanie?
Okay. So this is her first role, her first performance.
That's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, she was maybe in several like student projects, but they are like more experimental instead of like an actual role, a character. So this is literally her first. So, and she wasn't even my first choice at the very beginning. I mean, she was amazing, but for some reason, she submitted to our casting call, but I don't know why her file just accidentally go to the archives. I don't know why. I didn't see her at all at the first place. So we chose another girl, and the girl dropped like maybe several days before our shooting, like a week. I would say like within a week or something. And the reason, like, ridiculous, is so interesting. This film is like kind of centered the autonomy of a female's body, right? But the reason why she dropped was like, I'm sorry, I cannot do it because my husband wasn't happy with it. I'm like, seriously?
That's like the whole point of the movie.
I know, it's the whole point of the movie. And I can tell she really wanted to do it. And she called me in the middle of the night, like literally midnight, and she cried. And I kind of tell the husband was around, and she's crying and calling me. I'm sorry, I cannot do it. But I feel so bad. I was like, I cannot do it. I don't want a divorce. I was like, seriously, is this gonna cause a divorce for you? I don't know. So I think that is a really interesting. It's not interesting, but a kind of painful story, like a behind scene story. So we have to drop that girl. So like, okay, we only have a week. Everything is settled. So what can I do? So like, let's say, so I was asking my line producer, casting director, just go reach out more girls. And now I just want to go back to see the archives, right? Now I see Stephanie. I was like, oh my God, how come I didn't see her at the very first second? And she, not only about her acting, but also she definitely has the looks. You know what I'm saying? So that is another choice. If you look at my main characters, I don't want them it looked like American. I know this is like American production, but because it's a dystopian world, I want these people, when you look at it, you don't really like relate to like one country or a state. So it's, I want like a face that they can represent more people. I think definitely had that face. And also, like, so I called her back. We did the auditions and we did the chemistry read with Stevie, the girl who played Mavis. Sorry, how come I forgot the name? So it was great. They have great chemistry. They instantly liked each other. And so before we head to the desert, we did I came from theater background. I was a theater director before I stepped into the film world. So I'm very comfortable working with actors, and I love actors. I love to work with them. So we literally had the workshop together. I booked the rehearsal room, and we did a lot of the exercise to kind of like release ourselves, like do a lot of things. So basically, we just three of us, we break down in the work during the workshop, and we cried. We talking about trauma. You trust me, every woman they have like deep trauma about this. So we shared a secret, like deepest secret about us. So I would say we bonded, and we had that like deep trust for each other before we started the production. And ahead of the production, we brought Stephanie to the desert 4 days ahead of the shooting. I tried to make her like get comfortable with the desert, becoming the character over there. And I was like, even I made her holding like huge stones, hold rocks, walking around on the desert to find that kind of a posture to walk about the character, because like she doesn't live in a very like great condition. So yeah, that is how we worked and how we found each other. I'm still feel very blessed. I got to work with these two talented actresses.
Yeah, first of all, I hope that the initial woman who you did have cast in the role is safe. There is a bit of a dark irony to the whole idea of her being separated from a role like Mowanza because of a man in her life that it's sad. But I hope that nothing for the best for her, and that she gets out of any situations if she should get out of them safely. Going with or speaking on Stephanie, there is a physicality and a pain in the performance that she's bringing. How much of that was on the paper whenever you were writing this character initially, and how much was her bringing her own life experiences to this role?
I think that is definitely. I think it's most of them is I read it on the paper, but we definitely create that together. Because performances are really based on the actors' own like their personal experience. And she was sharing her experience with me, and like we talking about how could we do it together. But she also made the choice I think was really brave. She kind of isolated herself while we filming that. It's really hard to isolate yourself when you like filming, even though it's like a one people show, almost like it's a very lonely journey about Mowanza. But it's really hard to isolate yourself during the filming production. But she did it. Her point was like, I wasn't a very experienced actor, so I have to put myself in that situation, which really brings a lot of her personal experience in it. Sometimes I also feel really painful for her. I can really tell that she's not only using the acting skills, she's really like provoked from her like personal experience, which is really painful. And I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful that she has that level of trust to me. So yeah, that is definitely, I'm still feel very grateful about that.
Yeah, no, it comes across. I think that the two of you working together, I think it makes the movie work in so many ways. Speaking to your role as a director and as a writer, whenever you were creating this story, obviously this is set in a dystopian future that we've spoken about, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about some of your personal reasoning behind setting it at this time and place. It's an incredibly well realized world. There's a tactility to this world that it feels lived in, from the scrapes and bruises and chapped lips of the desert to the TV ads for water that are playing in the background. There is an element of it that's lived in. But what was it that initially kind of pushed you to making this set not directly contemporary times?
Okay, so that it has to circle back to the question we first talked about that night I saw the scar on my mom's belly. You know, most of the time, I mean, I've been directing and writing for many years. And most of the time you have an idea, you have a seed, you plant a seed and you start watering it, and slowly it grows from a little plant becoming a bigger tree. But that time is very, very different. I almost feel like it's like visceral there. It's like I feel like I'm taking over. I know it sounds like when you speak it out, it sounds weird and like sounds like stupid in a way. But I really felt that night. So I sat down. I wrote the whole thing. Before I wrote it, I mean, I wrote the whole like story. Of course, not the whole script, but I wrote down the whole story. And before I wrote it, I don't know. I saw this image in my mind. I think the whole story coming from the one single image is that one woman carrying a ice bucket with her bloody uterus in and walking in the desert. That's a single image I had. I don't know why, but it just popped up that night after I had this whole thought about my mom and her scar. Yeah, so the whole thing came from that place. So instead of whatever about the dystopian world, the future dystopian is more to like fit that image. Well, that image came to me first. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, it's an incredibly profound image, so I can't blame you there. That's
yeah. I mean, we had a really amazing screening at the 12 at the Andean. And Charles, the programmer of the festival, asked the question like, we see so many references in later, the Mad Max and other things. Is there any specific reference for you? I'm like, I feel it's kind of arrogant to say no. I'm not taking any from any of them. But of course, growing up as a filmmaker, you definitely inspired by all those like the film masters all the time, of course. But I'm talking about this one that is like it's really like a single image came to me that day, and instead of like I want to like reference any specific movie, it's not really in that.
Yeah. Were there any like specific kind of focus points that you as a director kind of had in your mind to transport us into that world? Like any ideas that you had that were key to you?
Yeah, I think that is definitely one of the reasons was I think I mentioned that is also a reason why I chose Stephanie as the main character. I wanted to, even though of course the reason we chose the English as the language of this film because that is like world language. Most people like speaking it. So I wanted to represent a world and it's not really everyone can relate to, but it's like it's so bleak. Almost nothing there. It kind of reflects to any society. It could be like lush as like Orlando, like where I'm sitting, and it could be like in the middle of a desert. It could be like European. It could be like Asia. It could be anywhere. So I think this is more like a symbol. I kind of symbolize that, like that kind of bleak, terrible situation. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, no, I like I mentioned, I found this movie deeply affecting, and I hope that the rest of the world gets a chance to see this movie. I have two last questions for you. One of them is, and you've kind of alluded to it, but this idea of Iropus, where did that initially come from, and what does Iropus mean to you?
Okay. Oh, that's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, so Arupas to me is definitely a perfect world. and everybody talking about it. Like in a world, it's where like one day, like like I have a dream. There's one that like women are treated like fairly, and we don't have that kind of pain. But we all know it's not exist in the world. We all know that. Like uh, so that's why in the story she crashed at the border. She never really been there, and I doubt if anyone really been there or it's ever like exist. And it's really interesting. Like the thing we shot. One of our main location is Bombay Beach. I'm not sure you are familiar with that. It's called beach in California, but it's actually there's the water is like it's solid. It's like toxic. You can see the bones of the fish over there. So it's like it's smelly. I'm pretty sure if you only standing there, your skin just start to feel itchy. I'm pretty sure that the air it's terrible. So I don't know what happened to the place, but I heard it used to be a resort. You still can see those kind of the billboard like showing people like back in the 50s, like people swimming there. So to me, like I never saw that. But I still can see the billboard over there, so that you saw my billboard in my movie. That is kind of inspired by that when I did my location scouting. So to me, I think Aropus is a place it's a perfect world which never exists. But I think also it's also about the meaning of the movie. Like the end of the movie, it's not really a ending, right? It's not like we don't have a clear answer about it. Yeah, so I think the whole movie is like about asking questions. So it's like a journey without destination, but I think the meaning is like we are on the way. Even though there's no clear answer, but we cannot stop asking questions. I think that's the meaning of it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't. A lot of the time, I don't really have a simple answer to a lot of your questions because I think this whole topic. There's no easy answer. I wish there is. I spent so much time working on the film, but after I finished the film, I still don't have any answer to to all my questions.
No, I think I think it's very well articulated as far as what Iropus is. Like that comes across in the story of those who are rejecting of this whole land of Iropus is the religious zealots or these people who have just been they've come to terms with the stagnation of it all. Just like, well, this is just how life is going to be, and why even bother like looking for any kind of difference or any kind of change. So I like that it's more of a mindset almost of like we can try to push out of this, break free from all of this.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fable.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. One other question I wanted to ask for you, because the next step, usually whenever you're playing these festivals, I know now for you is trying to figure out distribution for this film. Do you have any kind of updates as far as distribution go? I know that you played Slamdance, you premiered this at Slamdance, and then this is the East Coast premiere here. So are you planning on taking this to any other festivals, or have you spoken with any kind of distributors or anything like that at this point?
Yeah, we had the world premiere at Slamdance Film Festival at LA, and we won audience award over there. I'm really happy.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. So after the premiere at Slamdance, the distributor was in the audience and walked to me and said they were interested in my film and they wanna buy it, you know. And that was a really important moment for me. Like people saying they love your movie, but coming from like distributor, that's another thing. So, but we're at a stage we're talking with different distributors. The festival run but we're still on festival run. I think we'll maybe have the decision by later of this year, maybe like maybe October, November, later of this year. So maybe we'll know more people, like know more amazing people like you guys. And we can starting to we'll have a better idea of how do we want to distribute it. They have different deals, they have a different plans, but we are pretty new to the distribution world, so we're still learning. I think along the film festival route. That is our like journey to starting to understand it.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to you. I want this movie to get as wide distribution as it can so it can be seen by as many people as possible. Thank you again so much for your time today. I have one last question to close out this interview. In addition to We Bought a Mic covering film festivals like we currently are doing for the Florida Film Festival, or reviewing new movies that are being released, we also will do career arc series where we will go through actors and actresses' careers, the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys, and try to make sense of it all. Most recently, we did the 90s Toms, so Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks. So I have to ask the question, Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks, do you have a preference between the two or any favorite movies for either one of them?
Tom Hanks.
That was quick. You have to think about that one.
Sorry, Tom Cruise is hot, but just not my guy. Yeah. You mean any movie from Tom Hanks?
Yeah, just any of your favorites from him.
Oh my god, I love him. Can I get Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
I know that's like a very old one, but that kind of opened some door for me as a like young film. I wasn't a filmmaker back then. I was like a kid. I was like, oh my god, that is definitely like, yeah. I think it holds a special place for me in my heart, like the Forrest Gump. Yeah, I'm still like, we're still using like, run, Forrest, run. I think it feels very inspiring for me.
I think, again, similar to your film Under the Burning Sun, Forrest Gump, a bit of a fable. So it all ties together. That makes sense.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Oh, Yun, thank you again so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was lovely talking with you. Everybody, that is Under the Burning Sun. You can catch it again. It's playing one more time during the Florida Film Festival tomorrow on April 18th at 4:45 p.m. at Winter Park Village. Did I get that all right?
Yes, yeah. 18th at Regal Park.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.